So I'm at charging station again. I got 2 Teslas, y'all. I got 2. So don't think like I live there. You know what I mean? So, but it's like I live here. But anyways, it's connected to Trader Joe's. So, but anyways, man, I want to talk about something that happened to me this week, Monday. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I did a story on it yesterday. And if you've been following me for a minute, I did it again. But this has been a repetitive cycle in our fucking community. And I really, 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 really hope and pray that this video touches a handful of us, man. Like, for real. So, Monday, my friend, she has a neighbor that was losing a home, but grandma died in August, right? She approached me like around November, December, and she says, Fred, this family is losing a home. Can you help them? I'm like, absolutely. Now, there's you know, when fair exchange is no robbery, right? So I told them, because I didn't want to come off as like real bodacious, and so I asked her to negotiate the deal for me, or at least get us to a place of communication where we can sit down at a table. They ignored her, per se, right? And they never got back to me. And I was going to buy the home. Obviously, I was going to flip the home, right? And I was going to give them maybe $10,000, $20,000 to move out, right? Because I knew I would get the money back on the house, and I didn't want to kick them out the house, you know, because they couldn't afford it. But they was living mortgage free since the grandma died, so I assumed that they were just like, oh man, we got like 2 or 3 years, because you hear stories, right? But there's no overflow. There's no overflow like when the market crashed. When the market crashed, there was too many homes, so people were living in their home 2 and 3 years, you know, with those reverse mortgages and stuff like that. So people today believe that they have 2 years to live mortgage free, and I believe that's what they were doing. So months go by, which was Monday, July 16th, right? No, the 7th. What's today's date? The 21st. So yeah, July 16th. July 16th, they get a notice, or whenever I get the call, that they got to be out by August 29th. And she asking me to help. I go on Redfin, type in the address. The house sold for $295,000. Now the house is in a marketplace of all homes, many homes, or at least $500,000. The guy bought the house for $295,000. So that means they probably owed what? $250,000. They probably owed $250,000 in the reverse mortgage, and the bank made what? $295,000. I mean, $50,000, man. At the end of the day, man, I know grandma, I know it's a sensitive subject to talk about because we love our grandparents dearly, and we don't want them to think about death. We don't want them to really believe that they're going somewhere, and we don't want to have the thoughts of living life without them. But in real life, grandma's gonna die. In real life, I'm gonna die. You know, and it's a hard conversation to have. But it's just an hour of your life that can prepare you for the rest of your life. You know, you don't have that conversation every day throughout your life, but you just got to build up enough inertia that will give you the push to do it. And I just want my community, you know, my black and brown brothers, man, sisters, minorities, you know what I mean? Because what's going to happen, and I'm going to keep it as real as I can be, what's going to happen is you're going to further distance the wealth gap in our country, and the wealth gap between the majority and the minority. You understand what I'm saying? Because very few people have $295,000 that they can just give a person to and buy the home. Very few people can. You understand what I'm saying? And the majorities of those people is 10% of the world. You guys heard 10% of America owns 90% of it. You guys heard that. And I don't know if that's true, but it's somewhere around there. And I genuinely believe that when we don't negotiate internally, you will put your family 2 and 3 steps behind, because grandma bought that house for $13,000 in 1973, 1972, right? Now it's worth $500,000. She's seen so many changes go through the community. And that's supposed to be your last name's money. That's supposed to be the Johnsons, the Vasquez, the Williams, the Morrisons, the Vargases. You understand what I'm saying? Because it hurts me when I hear stories like this. Not because, I mean, honestly, I would have made about $60,000 on this deal. I'm just being candidly honest. But, you know, if I have a $200,000 cushion, give them $20,000, put $40,000 in. You understand? Put $40,000 in, unexpected expenses. You know, maybe it doesn't sell for $500 minimum. Maybe it sells for $480. I make about $40,000 to $60,000, right? But at the end of the day, we have to have these conversations, because as grandma's upside down, it's not that it's okay, but you know where you're headed. Sometimes, it hasn't happened to me. It hasn't happened to me yet, but it's happened to my mom. And when my grandfather died, see, my grandfather was the matriarch of my family. Like, when I say I was raised in Harlem, it's because drugs and alcohol ran rampant in my family. You know, between my mom, my aunties, my fathers. You understand? That crack epidemic was real. The late 70s and the 80s was just horrendous, right? And I lived in the Bronx with my mom, but I grew up in Harlem with my grandfather, because his home was a place of refuge, and he had a co-op in Esplanade Gardens on 147th and Lenox. I'm talking about New York dudes right now, right by the bus depot. And we still have, thank God, we still have the co-op in our family. We only pay $300 or $400 a month. But my grandfather had property, lots of equity. He had lots of liquid, right? Because he's one of them old dudes, right? He was one of them old dudes. He died in January 1995. And just an old dude, didn't believe in the bank, believed in saving his money, you know, doing it the right way. He owned a house in Portsmouth, Virginia, where my family originated from, the Tidewater area. You know, I got a bunch of military from the Navy and stuff. You guys know the Naval Yard out there in Tidewater area. And my grandfather had amassed great wealth in comparison to where he started. I don't know what the numbers are, but I'll say this. When he passed away, my mom and my auntie didn't talk for years. And I don't have the education that I have now. I don't have the smarts. I was a little kid. But me looking hindsight 2020, this all could have been mitigated because they knew my grandfather had cancer. You know, he had prostate cancer, I believe. And this all could have been mitigated. All could have been mitigated if someone had the courage to say, Dad. We call him Padre. They called him Padre. I called him Granddaddy. And if all would have been mitigated and had this conversation, you know, and if you're afraid to have this conversation, send this video to someone, because that could have propelled us with the genius that I have now as it relates to property, with the genius that my cousins had in the streets. I could have washed their money and bought property and, you know, did shit like that. I had cousins. I told you I got 4 cousins that did time. All of them were moving major weight. Major weight. You understand what I'm saying? And had a few cousins go to jail. I had 2 cousins go to jail for murder. They're out now. They did 25 years. And but just imagine if I knew how to wash their money. You understand what I'm saying? Or my uncles had the brain that I had now. And I'm not saying I have the ultimate brain. Don't misconstrue me. But I'm talking about like the foresight, right? If my uncles had the foresight to say, hey, we're going to buy this car wash. You know, you making $50,000 a week. We're going to buy this car wash. We're going to buy this cleaners. We're going to, quote unquote, get the barbershop, right? We're going to, you know, there's so many different ways that you can wash money these days. You understand? You can get a nightclub in the neighborhood. You understand? There's so many ways where cash is on hand, where you're exchanging money with cash with no credit cards. You understand? If my uncles had that foresight, we had this conversation with my grandfather, we could have flipped my grandfather's money along with flipping my cousin's money, who was quote unquote moving major weight, you know. And what I don't want to happen to my family happen to y'all family. I'm starting a new tree, right? I mean, I'm not saying new tree in terms of in disrespect, but I'm talking about a new tree in the same garden, right? But I wish I would have had that jump start. I really, really wish I would have had that jump start with my grandfather's money and with my cousin's drug money. We could have, man, if I had cousins today that sold drugs, like the way they were moving drugs, shit, man, we could have been in a better place. You understand what I'm saying? And no one has a perfect start. I'm not advocating drugs, not one bit. I'm not advocating that that you sell drugs and you move, but I'm saying if you are in that life, stop what you're doing. You understand? And be pragmatic, because you guys know I did a film on cracking the system about Rick Ross. You know, Freeway Rick Ross. And imagine if he was washing his money, but it all got seized. It wasn't in his name. You understand what I'm saying? So, but anyways, the mafia does a great job at it. You know, the Carnegies and the Rockefellers and the Kennedys do a great job at it. You know what I mean? So they steal land, you know what I mean, in the middle of America, and they quote unquote call it pipelines, right? It's just another way of stealing land. Oh, we're gonna oh man, not gerrymander, that's voting. Eminent domain. We're going to eminent domain, when actually they call it a pipeline, but in 120 years it's going to be a fucking, they're going to erect like condominiums and stuff like that, right? So you know, the Trumps did it in Atlantic City. Remember when that old lady wouldn't move out, that one house that wouldn't move? I don't know if you guys remember that story, but yeah, man, it's just, I'm tired of this story being repetitive. I posted the video, and I only have close to 2,000 followers on Instagram, and I had 3 or 4 people tell me it happened to them out of 2,000 people. So that goes to show you, it's an average, happens to 4 people per 2,000. This can't happen to us, man. And please learn from what happened to my family, and send this to your family and friends, man. Let this be the icebreaker. You understand? And you know, I'm in the process of revising my living trust now, because you know I have a daughter now, and it's morbid. I'm gonna keep it G with you guys. It's morbid. Well, if you die before 18, who's gonna be the person to hand out, to give Lincoln and Kennedy the money? You understand? Like, it's real morbid. Oh, if mom dies, do you get the living trust? Because you don't want it to go to probate, because family will lie and steal and say. And do you want a family? And I'm not trying to be real funny or real fickle with you guys, but if I've amassed a certain amount of wealth, how can see this is what I think, right? If I die, I'm gonna have in value, millions of dollars in value, in terms to give to my family. But let's assume that mom died 2 years from now, right? I'm not being morbid. I'm trying to create this scenario for you, right? 2 years later, I die. So that makes Lincoln 7. That makes Kennedy 4.5, right? 7 and 4, 3 years apart. How can I trust a family member that's living paycheck to paycheck, right? Fill me out. To give Lincoln what's rightfully theirs, to take care of them when they have 2 and 3 kids that they live in paycheck and paycheck to live by. That's why this living trust is so important, and that's why you got to trust people who you believe, who you can trust sincerely, can do what's right by you. You understand? And I explained to her, I really don't want family members who are living paycheck to paycheck to handle this lump sum of cash. You understand? Because they're living paycheck to paycheck and they got 2 and 3 kids, 4 and 5, 6 kids. and they're tired, do you really think that they would, because the rent's a cash, it goes direct in deposit, do you think that they would be honest? And in my head, I'm just being pragmatic, would put the money in a savings account for Lincoln, or do you think they would spend the money on their kids? And you know, these are really, really tough questions that you got to ask yourself. You understand? And when do you want to release it? Like at 18, do they get a certain amount at 18? Do they get a certain amount at 25 and 30? And you know, it's a real morbid conversation to have, but there's the conversation that needs to have. You understand? And this has been an ongoing conversation I've had for the last 30 to 45 days. You understand what I'm saying? Because I just got a new LLC for my daughter, and I had to, you know, incorporate that into the living trust. So we're just going through these scenarios, and you understand what I'm saying? Like it's morbid, and yet it's a sense of you have a sense of pride that you did it. You have a sense of relief. You understand? Because the last thing I want to do, you know, like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, man. Like, and like, you see these goosebumps, like, for real. Like, the one thing I'm proud of is that I genuinely believe that my kids will be okay when I die. Right? But to think that I did it from a crack-infested home, kicked out of 2 and 3 colleges, got kicked out of Cal Baptist. I got kicked out of Cal Baptist. Had to go to 4 colleges to graduate in 4.5 years. Where I had to go to 2 junior colleges in summer school. And what else? Get laid off, first job, making $28,000 a year, homeless. To amass the wealth that I'm projected to have over the next 20 years. You understand? Like, I take pride in it. I take great pride in it. The same way we take great pride in, although it's on a lower level, lower level in this boxing thing that we have, and Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, times that pride by 100 or 1,000. You understand what I'm saying? And I just want us all, I genuinely from the depths of my spirit want us all to win. I don't see competition in you. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian. I just want to give information that I believe can take us to where we need to go. You know, and you know, so we got to make these decisions, man. Talk to grandma. Grandma's gonna die. All right, grandpa's gonna fucking die, and it hurt. And I still mourn my grandfather. 17 is my favorite number because he was born 8/17/17, and my birthday is 10/17. So 17 has always been my favorite number. You understand? I used to write 17 on my chest when I played sports. You understand? And like, grandpa's gonna die, and it hurts. Like, I literally still cry for my when I go to Virginia every 2 years or so, I go visit his grave. It's right behind the house we used to own. I still cry. I still mourn. But just imagine if we could have held on to that house, maybe rented it out for 5 or 10 years, and then Fred comes along at 32, 33, where he has the foresight. He has the, feeble knowledge. But I had a business partner who was fucking holding my hand, telling me, you can do this, Fred, you can do this, cheering me on. Right? While I'm seeing him make $1 million deals. Potential. Now they're $1 million deals. Back then they wasn't $1 million deals. They was $200,000 deals. Now those properties are worth $1.1, $1.2 million. You understand? He just sold a fucking building to the city of Inglewood for $1.8 million. The property was only worth $1.1 million. They needed parking for a condominium that they erect, for a building that they erecting. They needed more parking, so they paid them $600,000 over real price. Come on, man. Come on, man. It's just, it was fucking in the Inglewood newspaper, man. So if you live in Inglewood, anyways. But yeah, man, I genuinely wish, and man, you have no fucking idea. I wish we could have started our legacy back then, because my grandfather was a hard worker, man. He was a foreman. You know what I mean? He was building those, he was erecting those, buildings in Manhattan. And my grandmother was a step grandmother. So whenever you have that stepness with the kids, it's always that, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's always that visceral feeling, like it's not true love and animosity towards my biological grandmother. But I used to go to New York in the summertime when I moved out here from 9 until my middle school years and beginning of my high school years. I used to go to New York every summer and spend time with my grandfather. And like me doing this video, it brings back like tearful memories of losing my grandfather. 23 years later, I'm still mourning. Like, I will never get over it. So I can't imagine what it feels like to lose a child. You understand? So and if you don't have this conversation, you will lose your child financially. You will have them working a second job when they don't need to, a third job. You understand? And please have this conversation, man. Please have this conversation, because I wouldn't have changed their life. I'm be candid. I wouldn't have changed that family's life, but they would have had time to move. They probably would have had $20,000 in their pocket, and I would have helped them along the way. I've done it before. You understand what I'm saying? But now that I'm being more vocal about it, you guys get to experience this in real time. You understand? And it's just awful, man. The house sold for $295,000. No house in LA. No house. Let me tell you guys. Let me be very, very, very clear. No house in LA you can get for $295,000 west of the 110 freeway. I don't know of a house. For real. I mean, like, it's very rare. You can, but I'm saying it's just exceptionally rare. And so salute to y'all, man. I genuinely appreciate you guys listening to me, man. But don't take this from like a selfish place. I'm being as transparent as I can with you guys. You understand? Like please, like, I'm urging you guys. I'm pleading with you guys. Have this fucking conversation. It ain't gonna be no conversation when I die. It's gonna be paperwork. This is the reality. If I'm on my deathbed, when and wherever that is, because I'm not gonna. If I get in a car accident, I'm not gonna be a vegetable. Pull that fucking plug. I'm not. I just want to. If I can talk, make sure everything is in order. Make sure everything is in order, and pull the fucking plug. If I'm the last person, you understand what I'm saying? If mom is gone, I'll make sure everything is in order. I don't know if you got to get a what do you call the people, like the traveling lawyers? Oh man, what you call them? They stamp your shit. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on it. But if I got to get a lawyer there, if I can talk, and we gonna seal this deal. I know I got a living trust in place, but I want to reconfirm that everything is in place, and then you can pull the plug the next morning. For real, in real life, man. So I know I got some famous boxers that follow my page, and I know I got some up and coming fighters that follow my page, and I got some young kids out there who are really about to do some great things in the world, and some older people that are doing some great things in the world. Secure your legacy, man. Pay that $5,000 for your living trust, and be free. Be free, man. And you can get it cheaper. Go to LegalZoom. You can get a living trust much cheaper, for maybe $1,000. I don't know how much wealth you've amassed, but congratulations on amassing that wealth. If you have $20,000, I don't care if you have $20,000 or $2 million or $20 million. You want that to be in the right hands. You understand what I'm saying? So anyways, man, barbershop conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.